Hello, mathematical literacy learners. Welcome to our revision. So we are going to be doing 3 question papers from 2021, Eastern Cape, Limpopo, and KZN. So we're going to do KZN and Limpopo at the same time. Then we are going to do Eastern Cape on its own once we're done with these two. So make sure you subscribe, share, like. It means the world to me. And it's free to you. Let's get started. Mr. Nelson Beckham and his wife, a couple from England, wants to hire a car to travel around South Africa. They only need a small car, and they collect pamphlets from a variety of car hire companies to the information they get about prices for the type of car they want is as follows. So there's car company R, there's S, and then there's T from the pamphlets. Right, so here's what they found out, that if they use company R and they hire on a daily basis, they will pay 64 Rand, which is a fixed cost, and then per kilometer they will pay 1 Rand 5 cents. But if they hire for a long distance, which says maximum kilometer allowance, long distance rate, 250 kilometers per day, they will pay a fixed fixed cost of 169 Rand per day, and for monthly allowances, it will be 87 Rand per day, depending on the kilometers, of course, and weekends for 2 to 4 days. Right, and then it says on a long distance race, if you drive more than the allowed free kilometers, then you are charged according to the daily rate per kilometer for the extra kilometers traveled. So let's take this one, for example, that says 250 kilometers here. So if you travel 252 kilometers, it simply means that taking away the 250 that's free, not exactly free, you pay for it with a fixed expense, and you will be left with 2 kilometers. And this 2 kilometers will then be charged at the price for per kilometer, right? So you'll pay 169 Rand plus 2 times 1 Rand 5 cents. Okay. That's if you hire this year and you use more than the kilometers. Same thing applies if you come all the way down here. And it's just that the 90 cents, we have to change it into rands by dividing by 100. Same thing with the 80 cents here. The only difference here is that you have to change into rands by dividing by 100. And therefore, you will say 69 Rand plus the kilometers traveled times this amount here. Whereas here, it's 169 Rand per day. If you use 200 kilometers, once you use more, the extra kilometers will be charged 82 cents per kilometer. Use the information above to answer the questions that follow. Okay, 1.1 says, write down the formula that express how the total price of hiring a car for 1 day, very important, we're only going to calculate for 1 day, will vary depending on how many kilometers Mr. Nelson Beckham and his wife travel on that day for a car hired. So if you just hire it for 1 day, what is the formula that you would use? Now, let's look back at what is being asked. They're not asking us to calculate for 1 day. They are saying we must create a formula that can be used for a person to calculate for 1 day. All right, let's go see the information they have for 1 day for company RSNT. R, daily. So this is daily because this is long distance. This one here is standard daily. It says per day, it is 64 rands. And a kilometer will be 1 Rand and 5 cents, right? So let's try and create a formula there. The formula here will be so here the formula will be cost at company R is equal to, okay, now I'm going to try and see this 64 Rand you have to pay, which means it's going to be that plus, now it says here, I will have to multiply by per kilometer. So I will have to multiply by 1 Rand 05 cents is for 1 kilometer, but I don't know how many kilometers they are going to travel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say multiplied by the unknown number of kilometers. Now I'm going to take it a step further because there's something in the question that was given to us. They said in the question that kilometers is called K and the total price is P. So actually what I should have said was P, which is the total price, is equal to, and then I say 64 rands plus 1 rand and 5 cents times, and the number of kilometers, they said K. So this would be the formula. Now, I don't think you would be penalized if you wrote it like this because this is accurate, right? So we're going to go to company S. Okay, let's find out at company S, what would be the formula there. So company S, the cost at company S will equal to, the fixed price there is 65 rands plus, now I'm just going to come here on the side because I've already started, and I'm going to say 90 cents divided by 100 gives me 0.9, right? 0. If you use a calculator, it's going to say 0.9, but what it is 0.90 plus, so that would be 0.90, which is the price for 1 kilometer. Now we don't know if they're going to travel 1 kilometer. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by a number of kilometers that we don't know. So what is going to happen is if you travel 10 kilometers, it's going to say 90 times 10. Okay, so now let's move on to company T. So company T is down here, and it says 69 rands plus 82 cents per kilometer. So I'm just going to write company T right here and say cost at company T is equal to, and then I'm going to say the 69 rand is our fixed cost plus, then I'm going to say the 82 cents would be 82 divided by 100, which is 0.82 multiplied by the number of kilometers. Plot the graphs accurately on the same set of axes. Show how the total cost for 1 day depends on the number of kilometers traveled for each of the company. Make the values for distance range from 0 to 60 kilometers and the values for price range to 60 to 120. Now, when I got this question paper, it already had that part of the graph and the 0 to 65 and the 60 to 120. So what we're going to do is we are going to just plot the graphs. Okay, so we are not given a table that directs us on how much per kilometer on each graph. So company R, company S, company T. Okay, so we're going to do the cost and the number of kilometers. So if the number of kilometers are 0, it's going to be obvious, because what's going to happen is we're going to say 64 rand plus 10.5 times 0, and that's going to be 64 rand. So each one of these is going to, this one's going to be 64, this is 65, and 69 if they don't travel at all. Right, but what if they travel, let's say 20 kilometers? Now the graph will change, because now 64 plus 1 rand 5 cents times 20, 65 plus 0.90 times 20, and 69 rands plus 0.82 times 20, right? So let me just do that on the calculator. So I'm using the formulas that we created. If you look at the formulas we were told to create, the cost is 64 rand plus 1 rand 5 times the number of kilometers. So if I say 20, I'm just going to substitute 20 kilometers there, and then I'm going to get the cost for 20 kilometers. So that's what I'm going to do right here down here. I'm going to say 20 times 1.05 plus 64 will be 85 rands. And then I will say 20 times 0.9 times, no, plus 65, and that's 83, and 69, 20 times 0.82 plus, what is this, 69, and that's 85.4. Right? So I'm just going to try and plot. So you don't have to worry about this table. You're going to get a full table, and it's only going to be missing a number of items which you're going to have to calculate, and then you're going to plot your graph. But I just want to show you here What the most important thing I want to do here is plot where the graph starts, right? So if the people do not travel at all, we have a fixed cost here, and I'm going to remind you again that the fixed cost is coming from here, which is say 64 rands per day, which is the fixed cost. They have no choice. Once they decide to take the car, they're going to pay that 64 rands, and then the additional for the kilometers traveled. Same with company S, 65 rands for the daily that they use plus the cost for each kilometer they travel. Okay, so now what is going to happen is if you go to company R and you say 0 kilometers are traveled and the price that the kilometers this side, the price is this side, which means now we're going to say 64, which is somewhere here, 64, which is somewhere here, and then we're going to, that's where the graph is going to begin here. And then the graph S is going to be at 65. That's where the graph is going to begin. And graph T is at 69, almost 70. And then, so don't plot at the same time, do one graph at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to say 85, which is 20, and 85. So 20 kilometers is right here. I'm going to go up the line here and say this line is for 20 kilometers. So this is the line I'm going to use for 20 kilometers, right? And then I'm just going to go find 85. 85 is right here. And therefore, this is where these two lines meet. I'm going to say this is where our graph is. So what we'll do is we'll take a ruler and you join the two lines, join the coordinates, right? Where the graph starts and how to plot that. 0 and 64 is somewhere here. And then you go to 20 and 85, and then you plot one more, and then you connect the dots, and then you do the same with the second graph, and you will find yourself having 3 line graphs there. Okay, now, if you look at now, if we take a look at this one goes up to a 7, from 7 to 23 days, and we are not using more than 23 days. So this one right here is for more than 23 days. We can't use it. This is for only weekends. We can't use it. And this one is for less than 14 days. We have 14 days. So this is the one that we are going to use to calculate our cost at S. Okay, now we're also going to calculate our cost at R. We're going to calculate our cost at S and check which one do we need to use. This one is 1 to 4 days. It doesn't qualify. 5 to 6 days is still less than the days we're going to use. We're going to use 7 to 14 days. This is the one we are going to use. And here we're going to use not this one. This is less. This is just about almost, but it's not right. And this is company T, 14 to 20 days. That's the one we are going to use. S. And right, let's check out company S. Company S says if they travel for 7 to 23 days, they're going to get, every day, they're going to get 250 kilometers free. And then they're going to pay 164 Rand per day. And if they use more than the free, they're going to have to pay this. So let's first calculate how many are they getting free and how many are extra. Okay, so they said they're going to be traveling 3,000 kilometers, right? So for 14 days, they'll be traveling. Now, let's see. 250 kilometers is free for one day, but they're going to be traveling 14 days. So they're going to get every day for 14 days. How many in total? They're going to get 250 times 14. So they're going to get 3,500 kilometers free. Oh, they're going to use, so all of this is going to be free. We don't have to worry about extra because the free there is 250 kilometers per day times 14. It gives us 3,500. They said they traveled 3,000 kilometers. So they travel less than the free, right? So we don't have to worry about that. We just have to calculate according to the fixed cost. Now, how much is the fixed cost? It is 164 Rand per day. So the cost here will equal to 164 Rand times 14. 2,296. All right, so we're going to take a look at company S. Company S says 7 to 14 days is 139 Rand, and the daily what are 250. Again, if you double check, you'll find that 250 for 14 days you get free of 3,500 kilometers. They are traveling 3,000 kilometers, which means we are still in the safe. We can just pay only the fixed cost for company R, and then the cost here will be the fixed cost of 139 rands multiplied by 14 days, and then that's all they have to pay. They are not traveling extra kilometers, so that'll be 139 times 14, and they will pay 1,946 rands. Right, now we're just going to look at the last one, which is 14 to 20 days, and there you get 125 rands per day. The kilometers that are free there is 200, so let's check if they travel for 40 days. 200 times 14 will be 2,800. There is free. In company T, the free kilometers is equal to 200 kilometers times 14, which is equal to 2,800 kilometers. Now I'm going to double check how much they traveled, how many kilometers they traveled. It says there they traveled 3,000 kilometers. So unfortunately they said 3,000 minus 2,800, and that means there's an extra 200 kilometers that was not free. Right, we have to do a calculation on the 200 kilometers. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to say cost is equal to, and then we are going to say what is that now? What in the world does that sound? Anyway, so here now we're going to say what is the firstly what is the fixed cost when it comes to 125 rands per day. So that one is going to be 125 rands times 14. That would be the cost plus, right? Plus, you remember the 125 rands is for per day, plus the free kilometers, which is the kilometers that are not free, and there's 200 of them. They said here, should you come across a situation where there's extra kilometers traveled, you use the 82 cents. We said we're going to use 0.82 multiplied by 200, and then we just do the calculations on the calculator. $125 times 14 is 1,750 plus 0.82 times 200 is 164 rands, and if you add the two, 1,050 plus 164, and it will get us 1,914 rands. So the question was which one would be cheaper or which one would be preferable, and then that would be company. Let's look. Company R is 1,946. Company S is 2,296, and company T is 1,000, so it'd be company T.